I want to create an entire category that doesn't exist because I feel that we have an incredible opportunity to learn from the harshest environment known to man. And how do we translate that now with climate change and women that are going literally from the beach to the boardroom to the boarding gates, the amount of stress we're under and how that's inflaming the skin. It's no different than the stressful environments of these extreme conditions. And so we went through 8 months of rigorous testing, and we had everybody in from like the major space companies to scientists, researchers, human spaceflight engineers. I was getting nervous, Marcia. I'm like, wow, these are a lot of people in my formulas.
This is the Angel Next Door podcast, where we will talk about all things angel investing. What it is, who does it, how do we find them, what does it mean to invest in an early stage company? If you have ever wondered how you can affect the change you want to see in the world, then tune in to learn more.
In this episode, I'm talking to Shalini Vadhera, a trailblazing beauty entrepreneur who took her products all the way to outer space. We discuss her rebellious beginnings in India, founding global brands featured in Sephora and QVC, and sending beauty formulas on a rocket. You'll hear about how she's using biotech and ancient wisdom to change the skincare game, her innovative approach to empowering female investors, and unforgettable stories from her travels for her book, Passport to Beauty. Discover the science behind beauty in space and how this mission is opening doors for women worldwide. Now, she does describe some of her products and holds them up to the camera to show me, and if you're just listening and want to see them, go to YouTube for the video version. Enjoy the show. Shalini, welcome to the Angel Next Door podcast. I'm so excited to talk to you today.
Oh, thank you, Marcia. I'm so excited to be here. I've been hearing so many of my investors say the nicest things about you. So thank you for having me on.
That's so nice. Well, oh my gosh, I was reading all about the things that you've been doing, beauty and space. And I was like, whoa, you don't usually hear those two things together. So please start off, tell us a little bit about your background and how you created this amazing beauty brand and took it into space.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm a very rebellious girl. So I like to break industries. I like to do things out of the norm. I love to pioneer. I love to be a trailblazer, which is probably why my father sent me to India when I was 19 with a plane ticket and $1,000 and told me to go start my own company. And I secretly thought they were arranging my marriage. So I was like hysterically crying, entire flight to India. And then when I got there, my aunties are like, no, you need to start a business. And many years later, I asked my dad, I said, why did you do that, Dad? Especially for an Indian father, that's so progressive. And he's like, you're very outspoken and you like to do things differently. And I just wanted to make sure you weren't going to get fired anywhere. So I had to make sure you could be self-sufficient. And it was so funny. But I started my career at 19 as an entrepreneur. And of course, being a girl and trying to do business with all these uncles, I was not having a good time. How about that? And I just was getting my degree in international business at the time. And I got a job at the clinic counter here in San Diego and had no idea what I was doing. And the very first customer I had, I remember the exact 3 products that she bought. And I was so scared because I didn't know how to do makeup or anything. But the next day, I received a beautiful bouquet of flowers and a card that said, thank you so much for bringing back my wife. She has cancer, and you put a smile on her face. And I'm like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. Like just knowing the power of self-esteem and being able to give a woman an opportunity to look good, feel good, and then have the confidence to go out there and just do whatever she wanted. And so that's really where my story began. And from there, just very ambitious and very aggressive, and got to work with some of the greats like Laura Mercier and Danny Sands from Makeup Forever, and started freelancing. And then I got a call from NBC Studios in LA to come up and show them my stuff. Well, I didn't really know what my stuff was, but I wasn't going to turn down any opportunity to walk on a Hollywood lot. So drove up there, and within a few weeks, I got my big break on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno. I started working there, and that kind of opened up the world of celebrity. That got me on television. And at that time, I was doing makeup on the weekends on a show called Hollywood Squares, and Henry Winkler was the executive producer. Tom Bergeron was the host, and still to this day, it was like a crime to get paid to do that because it was so much fun. And they were like, what are you doing on TV? And I said, oh, I don't even know what I'm doing. And Tom had seen what I had done. And he goes, you have to meet my agent. I went to meet his agent. She's, you're very cute. Let's get you in a helicopter. And I'm like, no, and no. I don't want to go in a helicopter, but I want to be a brand. And she goes, I don't know what that means. And I said, I don't either, but I know that I need to get to New York City. So everybody hustled and helped me build my tape. And within a few weeks, I was in New York doing the CBS Early Show. And they started flying me in pretty regularly. And then in true New York fashion, the producer came up to me and she's like, why the F are we flying you in first class and putting you up in what makes you so different? And at that time, nobody was really talking about global beauty, multicultural beauty. And I said, well, one, the US is the greatest melting pot in the world. We have skin tones being born minute by minute, and no one's really addressing all of those skin tones. And two, I traveled so much as a child to visit my grandparents. People always wonder why Indian women have traffic stopping shiny hair and Chinese women never seem to age. And Brazilian women have these amazing bodies, and it's not genetics. It's all of these beautiful rituals and secrets that have been passed down. So that's okay. You need to focus on that. And that is really when everything hit in the world of beauty for me. That became a very distinct voice and niche for me of global beauty. I was then offered a publishing deal by St. Martin's Press to write a book on it. Spent the next 2 years traveling the world, meeting the most incredible women from the villages to the skyscrapers who were more than excited to share their culture with me. And then that's when I launched my first brand in Sephora, QVC, Victoria's Secret, with everything based on these global beauty secrets. Coming out of that, exited that brand, felt that there was not enough resources for women, especially as a female founder. I never met another woman investor. I was always the only woman in a boardroom. There was a lot of sexual harassment and bad behavior that I was always facing. And so I ended up launching a women's platform called Power Beauty Living. And within a year, the United Nations invited me to launch globally on the floor of the UN to 350 diplomats, CEOs, and country heads. So we brought one of our events, which was all about powering up your business. So mentorship for women by women, powering up your beauty. What are you doing for unmatched confidence so you have unmatched leverage? And then powering up your life. What are you doing for your internal self-care that whatever's going on out here is not going to rock you? And so really started doing a lot of these events. Thought maybe 20 of my girlfriends would show up and we would have 175 women come to these events. So I knew that there was something there about community and being in a room of like-minded women. From there, I ended up launching Passport to Beauty based on my book with a media deal in Amsterdam and a box collaboration here in the US, where I would travel to different countries around the world. We would show you all the beauty secrets. I would go into a lab, create those secrets for you, and then curate the whole trip as if you were going with me. And while I was doing that, because I had such a rich relationship on supply chain globally, I started creating brands for Paramount Studios, for the Baywatch movie, Turner Classic Movies, retailers, celebrities, influencers. And that's really where Now Ready Set Jet comes into the picture. I found out I was receiving the Mahatma Gandhi Award at the British House of Lords for my work in women empowerment and beauty, and flew to London, got this amazing award, met Baroness Verma from the British Parliament who medaled me. She actually scared the crap out of me. So I was like, this woman needs to be my mentor because she's really scary. And shortly thereafter, the government of India and Britain came to me and they said, we want more impact, Shalini. Can you bring it? Can you bring your impact to this side of the world? And I really wasn't ready to do a nonprofit at that point. For me, I really wanted to utilize the fact that beauty is this universal language that every woman's spoken to me, whether it's they're in a slum, they're in a village, they're on Rodeo Drive. It's just been a language that everyone has spoken. And so I was like, how do we create impact by scaling a global brand and then scaling the impact there? And so met with Baroness Verma and said, look, we have this opportunity. I want to use beauty as a vehicle for change. Like I honestly cannot just do another red lipstick. It's just, there's no reason, we don't need any more of that. And so we decided to do everything very intentional. And so she said, go raise money from just women.
Ooh,
And so
wow.
I said, wow, I don't even know. They don't have a risk appetite. They don't invest. Then she goes, go teach them. So proud to say we're 90% female funded. And I had
Yes.
made a lot of the managing directors of venture capital, private equity, family offices personally invest. So I had the leash and the freedom to go and innovate in ways that I did with my first brand, where all of a sudden we broke the global beauty story in the United States. I had my eye on space for a very long time. And I was with my chemist and I'm like, this is ready, set, jet. We literally need to ready, set, jet this to Richard Branson and go to space. And they looked at me like I was crazy. Well, clearly the universe heard me because when I moved back to San Diego, I happened to be on a walk and we talked to everybody here. So I met a guy and we were just talking and he's like, what's your moonshot, Shalini? And I'm like, space. And he goes, wow, that's crazy. And I said, there's so much science and innovation and everything's accelerated there that why isn't anyone utilizing space as the ultimate testing lab for all his ancient wisdom or any of these next gen products? He's like, oh, that's interesting. Ended up meeting him again, giving him some products for his wife. And then as the story goes, I got a text from him a few weeks later and he said, hey, do you want to pitch my CEO and COO in Houston? And I said, what's in Houston? And he goes, I happen to work for one of the largest space companies, Shalini. I think it's interesting that you want to go to space. So met his CEO and COO, and they're like, great, do you want to do this for marketing? Do you want to just go up? And I'm like, no, I want to create an entire category that doesn't exist because I feel that we have an incredible opportunity to learn from the harshest environment known to man And how do we translate that now with climate change and women that are going literally from the beach to the boardroom to the boarding gates, the amount of stress we're under and how that's inflaming the skin. It's no different than the stressful environments of these extreme conditions. And so we went through 8 months of rigorous testing, and we had everybody in from like the major space companies to scientists, researchers, human spaceflight engineers. I was getting nervous, Marcia. I'm like, wow, these are a lot of people in my formulas. And then I got a call from the CEO about 8 months later, and he was laughing. And I said, "What's so funny, Caesar?" And he said, "Shalini, we're all scratching our head. How did you know the exact percentages for space?" And I
Hmm.
said, "I did. I knew that we were going to sell globally. I knew we'd be in deserts, we'd be in the snowy regions, we'd be in tropical regions, we'd be in polluted cities. And so I really wanted to solve that, how that's affecting the skin. And that's what got Axiom involved. And then we were invited to go up on the historic Axiom 4 mission. So the products flew with 4 amazing astronauts. And again, I feel so blessed that our commander was Commander Peggy Whitson, the most decorated female astronaut in history. And then, of course, the group captain was the first Indian astronaut to go up in 41 years, first Indian astronaut to ever go to the International Space Station. So I could not have
Wow.
written even better. So we were able to validate the performance of these products in space. And now we are the first company in the world, not only certified for human spaceflight, we also broke a defense record, hitting a TRL 1 to 9 in 120 days. We partnered with a defense company. We are also the first quadruple use case in the world of defense, space, athletes, consumer, and we're doing all of this via biotech. So that's how we got to space. I know it's a long story, but here we are.
Wow. That's quite a story. Okay, wait. How does the defense piece fit in there?
Well, we partnered with Black Star Orbital in the United States. So they're a space and defense company here. And the products, they were part of our mission to go up. We aligned with all of their science, their validation. And I did not know a lot about defense, but the products work so well that we are now entering the world of defense with the next generation of products that we're creating. But the entire process on the defense side of the TRL 1 to 9 sometimes takes 5 to 10 years. And we did the entire thing in 120 days because we had a space flown mission attached to it.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah, I'm having fun. I'm 50, and when you're in your 50s, you're like, "Oh, I've done it all. I've met everybody. Like, what's there to do?" And I'm just having the best time of my life chasing rockets. Is pretty much what we do, but also innovating and getting an entire world open up to me, which just new people, new opportunities, new ways to utilize science and formulas that are actually helping humanity. Yeah,
Yeah.
and building out how do we really take advantage of the fact that we have an opportunity to help humanity as a whole and to bridge something that seems so far away and make it relatable now to women everywhere. And men they all have FOMO now. They all want their own baton.
All right. So tell us more about the formula and how you developed it so that it would, you're basically trying to get it to hold up in space and tell us more about that. I'm a little.
So there's a lot of obviously constraints around going to space. If you're going to be in a rocket, especially a manned rocket with human beings, you can't have any off-gassing. There's a lot of conditions with zero gravity. Like you can't have water because the particles are going to move around. But I understood what actually happens to the skin in that environment, extreme dehydration because everything cooled down. You can't have products that are going to like tear the skin because that opens you up for having a risk of infection. You're exposed to really heavy levels of radiation. And so I'll show you actually our products. So this is the kit we had done with Black Star Orbital. So these are all the space flown formulas in here. So first off, when I created these, Marcia, I really went back to the basics of what are 3 questions that I've heard from every woman my entire career that clearly are still an issue because I'm still getting these questions. And they were, how do I save time? I don't have an hour to spend on my skincare and makeup routine, and I'm really not interested in that. How do I save space? I'm really tired of heavy bags, and when I travel, I don't like it when things spill in my bag. And 3, can you tell me what products I really need to buy because I'm wasting money on products that just don't perform. They're either not doing anything to my skin, they're melting, they're coming off within an hour, and I feel like I'm just wasting a lot of money. So I went into the lab with that foundation of, okay, we need to create something that is going to address these 3 big issues I continue to hear. Then we need to also create something that's going to protect the skin in environments like Delhi. The pollution levels are so high.
Yes.
Imagine the accelerated aging from all the free radicals and the environmental factors of what's happening to the skin. And then third, I don't like things that spill either. So all of the products, first off, are anhydrous. So they're waterless technology. And then what I did is first, I named it the baton, the beauty baton. And the reason I named it the baton is I wanted more women to learn to pass the baton to another woman. Nothing bad's going to happen. The world is abundant. There's enough for all of us. And when we come together, it's magic. We rise together in the most powerful way. So that's the first reason why we named it the baton. Second, the waterless feature is because, again, we didn't want things that were spilling. We wanted things that you could use on the go. These are all multifunctional. So each side of the baton, you're getting 2 to 4 products in one. So think about how much it would cost to have four products, and how much weight that bag goes into. So every side is multifunctional. And then in addition to that, I had to stay true to who I am. So lots of ancient wisdom, like the beauty secrets of India, Egypt, Mexico, France are all in here. But where we start to go into the next level and why we're playing in space is we utilized a lot of biotech. And growing up in San Diego, the ocean is just part of my life. I smell the salt air and I know I'm home. And the ocean is also the one thing that connects women from every part of the world. And so we really dive deep into oceanic biotech and really looking at the secrets of Korea and Taiwan and these Asian countries where they really have so many benefits of seaweed and algae and whatnot. So the biotech is what's really going in there and reducing the inflammation. It's going in there and it's building the respiratory systems at a cell level. It's increasing the moisture barrier. So these are no longer about skincare. It's about how are we extending the life of the skin? How are we building the resilience of the skin? So this is the Hydrate and Glow baton. So on one side, you'll see you've got a very rich, multi-purpose balm. One thing is because they're waterless, they're very concentrated formulas. So they're going to last long, they're going to wear long, a little goes a long way. So this is actually inspired by my producers in Amsterdam when I had that media deal. It was freezing when we were shooting there and they'd take out one product and they'd groom their brows. And then they'd put it on as mascara. And I'm like, I'm just watching them. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Then they'd be putting it on their cuticles, their lips, around their eyes. Then they're putting it in their hair. So I'm like, what are you guys using? We keep using this one container for everything. And they said, oh, we believe in minimalist beauty, Shalini. We like to get the most out of one product. So I took that into this brand of, okay, this can be used anywhere. You need that boost of moisture, and then you're going to get all of the great anti-aging, skin brightening benefits because of the coconut oil, the castor oil, the seaweed. We've also used a beautiful biotech marine retinol. So you're going to get all the benefits of retinol without the peeling, without the redness, without the hyperpigmentation from going in the sun. So this side has this multi-purpose balm. Now on the other side, we have a waterless technology and an exfoliating scrub. So this is actually an exfoliating balm. So what we did is we took the secrets of the sugar scrubs from around the world, but we pushed it into our balm with a waterless technology. So all you do is you swipe it on, massage it in, you'll feel the very nice fine particles of the sugar, and then you wipe it off. No water needed. So you can do
Wow.
this. And because pushing the moisture back in the skin, there's less of a chance of tearing the skin, opening up, any invitation for infections and whatnot. So they work really well. Now, the third part is these ends come apart. So it allows your bag to go from this to this. And it also allows you to control your beauty routine through the day because you can start to mix and match formulas. So we have the Hydrate and Glow, and then the other skincare, and everything's actually based in the skincare, is the Cleanse and Prime. So this is just a tri-phase, again, waterless cleanser, removes space dust, pollution, makeup, waterproof makeup. But this goes, you swipe it on, it goes from a balm, breaks down into an oil, breaks down into a very fine microfoam. So you just put this on, massage it in, wipe it off. So again, no water
No
needed.
water. Wow.
And then you've got your serum, daily moisturizer serum and primer in one. So you're getting all of the moisture. You're blurring out all of your fine lines and pores. And then the purple is a secret I used as a celebrity makeup artist because the purple creates an optical illusion and it bounces light off of the face. And so this is almost like you've got your ring light on your face.
Interesting.
And then, of course, our makeup got approved and certified as well because it's all based in all of that great space-certified skincare. So we've got highlighters that are very subtle, which look great on women over 40, where it's not too shiny and accentuating everything. And then our lip and cheek stains. And you'll see these are very pigmented. A little goes a long way, Marcia. But I'm very big on skin tone inclusivity, making sure that every woman of any skin tone has the opportunity to use the products and look and feel great. So that's a little bit about the products that went to space. And obviously now off of that knowledge and information and data that we got, we're building the next set, which will be much more wound healing. And we're learning a lot in microgravity. Skin regenerates, the tissue regeneration. So could we help burn victims? Could we help women that are going through breast cancer radiation? How do we take what we've learned with space now and go even deeper into high performance?
Amazing. Wow. Okay, so tell us a little bit about how you were able to help women invest in your company, how you got them to feel comfortable with it, and what are some of the things that we can do in order for people to feel more comfortable investing in women? Because you and I share that very strong passion. Like, we want women to invest in women.
Yes, I think it's so important because we both earlier spoke about the lack of funding available for women. What, under 2% female founded companies were getting funded. Then it dropped to 1%. Then forget it, if you're a minority, it's like under 0.5%.
Totally.
And when Baroness Verma kind of tasked me with this, we're going to just focus on women. I'm like, how do we do this? And so we did it very uniquely and very disruptively. I held parties on Hollywood Boulevard at a crystal store because I'm like, nothing bad's going to happen with all these crystals in here. And we bring in some like appetizers, and we just taught women, like, this is an opportunity. It's women supporting women. We're also giving back to underserved communities so we can help break the cycle of poverty for these women. For now, we're really focusing on a lot of these women astronauts that are being dangled out there by their countries, but nobody's funding them to get up. The men are getting, not the women, right? And so we taught women like what a safe note was, what the terms of a safe note were, what it means to invest and start to build your own personal financial freedom for you, whether you're in a marriage or you're not in a marriage. And we started with those parties when we had a lot of women who could not invest more than 5,000. So we're always like, fine, 5,000, 25,000, some could come in for more. And we kept hearing from a lot of women that, God, I really want to invest. I can't do it. My husband won't let me, or I don't have $5,000, Shalini. So this was like during the pandemic when nothing was happening. And so we decided to do a crowdfunding campaign. And I reached out to the CEO of Republic and I said, is there a way that we could have women invest for as little as $100? So we did a 70-day campaign globally. And we allowed anyone to come in for as little as $100 to actually be an investor in a global beauty brand. I had fortuitously met one of the largest podcasters when I was in India. He's the #1 Spotify podcaster there. And so I was speaking with the International Congress in India, and I think it was like 4 a.m. And I was trying to stay awake, so I just called him. And I said, he's, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, I got to speak. I can't even stay up right now. I'm so tired. And so we started talking, and I said, hey, would you ever be interested in being the male voice for women to change the narrative of like how powerful women can be, especially when they come together? And he goes, whatever you want, Shelly, I'll help you however you want. I said, have you ever thought of becoming an investor, not just a creator? And he goes, what do you need? So I said, why don't you make an investment into Ready, Set, Jet? And if you could push the crowdfunding across India, that would be amazing. I'll forever be grateful for that. And sure enough, he made an investment. So he got a lot of great PR off of that, as like creator turned investor. And then he dedicated his investment to his mother. And he did Instagram posts, but he did an Instagram story that drove 80% of the crowdfunding out of India in 15 minutes. So we had girls as young as 18.
Oh my gosh.
Girls as young as 18 in India to women as old as 65 in the Midwest here that were so excited to be able to do it. And for me, it was important for me to create level playing field opportunities for women. So the whole reason I wanted to do that is I wanted these women to be able to put angel investor on their LinkedIn. So when they walk into a room with men and they're like, oh, I'm a nurse, I'm a teacher, and nothing, those are amazing careers, but they weren't discounted. If they walked in and they said, I'm an investor, they had to completely differently. And what came out of that, Marcia, which surprised me so much because I was so focused on impacting underserved community, was the amount of women that reached out to me and said, I did this for my daughter. This is the first investment I've ever done on my own away from my husband. I was able to leave an abusive marriage, Shalini, because I was able to use angel investor on my LinkedIn and people started taking my career seriously. Like, who would have known that some of the outcomes of this? And then from there, we would do champagne Zoom soirees. We raised money from a lot of the top female investors in India by doing a champagne soiree. I had brought on a couple of my investors here in the US, explained the opportunity, and they were very excited to be able to make an official investment into the United States. And we just continued to do that. And as I traveled the world, I would throw these pass the baton power lunches or pass the baton networking opportunities. And I would just meet amazing women. And we would that's how we got a lot of investment. I was recently in Dubai last year when I found out we were going to space. I was like, oh my gosh, now we need to raise capital for this payload. And I would love this to be as many women as I can get to be walking into the future with me as the first brand certified for space. And just called on friends and different platforms, and they would host me in these cities with a coffee talk and whatnot. And one of my great investors went to her house and she said, what are you doing? I researched you. And she was hosting one of these coffee meetups. And I said, well, this is what I'm doing. And we just made history. And she goes, hold on, I'll be right back. Went into her office, walked out. And she goes, how much do you want me to write this check for? And I said, how much do you want to come in for? And within 5 minutes, she had written me a check for $25,000 and handed it to me.
Wow.
So There is a lot of power, and we do these events. Our Pass the Baton event we launched in Los Angeles at one of my investors' homes, and she's, "You can only use my home if you can bring me Cartier." And I said, "Okay, we have a Zoom call with Francesca Cartier on Wednesday." And she goes, "You're kidding." And I said, "No, I just have been so fortunate to meet so many incredible women." So Francesca was gracious enough to come to LA from Monaco, brought never before seen Cartier jewelry, priceless, only one
Wow.
in the Louvre in Abu Dhabi, which was amazing, but also put my poor husband into having to get special ops to come with her all the way in Beverly Hills, had to geofence 5 miles and monitor the chatter for 2 weeks because we were scared we were gonna have a heist, a jewelry heist. But she came and we had the most incredible women, over 250 women, from everybody from Sally Krawcheck from Wall Street, who I admire so much, to Jesse Draper from Halogen Ventures, to our investors, to Hollywood, Bollywood. And I think over $1.8 million was transacted that evening between all of these women. And so it's just giving women access into the right rooms to be able to not only see what Ready to Set Jet's all about, but to also be able to make the connections and fund their own projects.
Wow. That's very powerful. You're right. It's all about putting people together, getting the conversation started, letting people feel like they are in the know and that they're invited into the room and they're welcome in the room.
Exactly. And nothing gives me more joy than connecting amazing women, because I know they're going to end up doing some kind of magic. And if that can be part of my community, especially under the Pass the Baton initiative for Ready Set Jet, then I've done my job, because this brand was
Yes.
about using beauty as a vehicle for change.
Yes. And I can't let you leave without you telling us all about Passport to Beauty, because as an author, I have to hear all about your author journey.
Well, it was a great journey because I had put out in the universe many years ago is I want to get paid to travel. And there I was with my book and traveling the world and just meeting the most amazing women and learning their beauty secrets. Everything from the women in the Dominican Republic, they can't afford to go out and get gel or acrylic nails. So their secret was taking chopped garlic, adding it to a bottle of clear nail polish, letting it stew for about 7 to 10 days, and then using it as a top coat. And the garlic infusion makes your nails stronger than acrylic nails. I traveled
Wow.
all the way to the women in Eritrea, had the most beautiful glowing skin. And I'm like, how is your skin always so glowy and gorgeous? And they were telling me, "Shalini, we have no rights as women. We have no running water. We don't even have electricity. But we have a TV in the middle of town, and we all want to look like J-Lo." I just thought it was so funny. The stories are so funny. And so I was like, okay. So once a week, they would go and get all of the indigenous herbs, and they would create these steam pits where they would steam for 45 minutes to an hour under these blankets. And she said, "Well, we just catch up on gossip for 45 minutes." And then they would walk around like they had used a $300 cream on their skin with the glow. And there's so many fun stories. I was on a flight from Bangkok to India, and there was a Thai bachelorette party on my flight, and they were all laughing and climbing over each other, and they were taping their eyes. And I'm like, "What is this guy doing? Can you show me?" And so they were using these eye tapes to create a crease because of the shape of their eye. They didn't have a crease, and the tapes would go in and create this crease. So I learned all about eye taping from this crazy drunk bachelorette party. And I missed the tsunami. So if you can believe it, I was in
Wow.
Phuket, Phi Island, and I had interviewed all these beautiful Thai women on like the rice secrets and the lemongrass and all these beautiful secrets. And I was flying to South India, to Chennai, and we got diverted to Delhi. And on the flight is when the tsunami hit, wiped out the resort I was on Koh Phi Island, wiped out the resort I was on in Phuket, and wiped out where I was going to in Chennai in South India. And so
Wow.
I feel very fortuitous that I was able to, one, not be in that situation, but two, I'll just never forget two things that stand out in that memory is one, I was an American Express Platinum card holder. And I remember they actually called me and said that you're in this area from your charges. Is there anything we can do for you? Do you need us to help fly you out? And that was a time where they didn't have international calling plans. And I said, "Oh, my phone bill is going to be just ridiculous from everybody trying to get a hold of us." And they said, "Don't worry, we'll take care of it." And
Wow.
it's like, for that reason, I've always been an American Express customer. And then the other thing is I've always been obsessed with the Singapore Airlines flight attendant.
Oh, yeah,
Because
totally.
my whole career as a little girl, I'd go on Singapore Airlines and Japan Airlines, and I'd be like, "Oh my God, these are like little Barbie dolls." And so I remember sitting at the airport in Delhi with my father because we had met up there, and I was just staring at all of these beautiful flight crews coming off the planes. And my dad looked at me and he goes, "Why don't you stop staring at them and talk to them?" And so I did. And I remember her name was Marty. And I said, "Oh, can I get your beauty secrets?" And they gave me a good up and down look. And they said, "Okay, we will give you our secrets, but you have to give us your shopping secrets. So I said, okay, deal. So I told them where to go shop in Delhi. And then meanwhile, I found out about how their skin is always so glowy and taut is because they do almost paper mache their skin with egg white, lemon, and sugar. And and then I learned that that they change their nail polish color per flight time. Just so many interesting things. So I've been really missing writing another book and just extending Passport now, especially into orbit, because we're learning so much there. It's just been a wonderful journey to really celebrate and showcase the different countries and cultures of the world and really celebrate these women and what they're doing.
Amazing. Shalini, we could sit here and talk to you all day and hear all about these things that you're doing. And it's incredible. But thank you so much for coming on the podcast today and sharing this with us. We're going to make sure to put everything in the show notes about where people can get a hold of your products and your book and learn more about what you're doing and follow you.
Thank you so much, Marcia. I really appreciate you supporting us and having us on the podcast today.
Thanks for listening. To connect with me, visit my website at marciadawood.com. And please subscribe, follow, and leave a review. It helps the podcast get seen by more people. And remember, you can also find the Angel Next Door podcast on YouTube too. And if you're looking to learn more about investing in the changes you want to see in the world, sign up for Anne and Bill Payne's ACA Angel University classes. Go to theangelcapitalassociation.org, all one word, to find out the schedule. And classes are now available on demand. Many classes are offered, everything from angel investing basics, which include fundamentals, risk, due diligence, term sheets, valuations, returns and portfolio strategy, and even a class on group formation. There's even a deeper dive where you can get advanced classes, including capitalization tables, startup boards, and exit strategies. If you're not already a member of the Angel Capital Association, you can become one for a low price that will give you unparalleled access to discounts, free webinars with a huge archive of content, networking opportunities, and much more. We'd love to have you join us.
All content for this website is informational and not intended to serve as legal, tax, accounting, or investing advice. While Marcia, that's me, does serve on the SEC Small Business Capital Formation Advisory Committee, my views are my own and not the views of the SEC or my fellow colleagues on the committee. Our speakers and hosts are thoughtfully selected for their educational value, but their opinions are their own and do not necessarily represent the views of the host, me, or the Angel Capital Association, and neither specifically endorse the use of presenters' products or services. Listeners of the podcast should consult their own tax, investing, legal, or accounting advisors before making important financial decisions. All warranties, including accuracy, completeness, and suitability for specific purpose, are disclaimed.